We'll go live in 2 seconds. 3, 2, 1. So we should be live. Let us know in the chat if everything works properly. Okay, we got some nice feedback. You guys can see our screens. I will initiate the screen sharing once again with screen number 1. Let us know in the chat if it works. I apologize for the small technical issue. Fantastic. Now we can see this.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you very much, everyone, for bearing with us. Things like that happen during live performances. So let me reiterate. We just opened BricsCAD. And as we mentioned before, BricsCAD is a DWG CAD software. So everything that we design in this platform is saved in a native DWG environment. In this case, I'm using the BIM workspace, which gives me access to IFC classified entities. In this case, I will just hit on the wall, and with the help of the side panel, I will create an IFC classified wall that already contains materials and BIM metadata. So once we visit the right side on the properties panel, we can see the standard IFC options and properties. This is a BIM wall, so we can insert the standard information about which building it belongs to, which story, and some wall common attributes, some fire ratings, so everything that is available to us. Of course, during a creation of a project, not all of those information are relevant, and here comes the importance of the IDS file. We can isolate and create a really specific list of those features, which can then be later used to be filled in and exported. So with these BricsCAD BIM modeling tools, we created a complex model. In this particular case, a project that contains 5 buildings. In today's session, we are going to be focusing on the building number 1 right here in the corner. And because everything ties together with XREFs, I'm able to isolate building number 1 in individual DWG file. So first things first, in order to control the entities in BricsCAD, I'm visiting the structure browser, which gives me an overview of all the entities in the drawing. I can sort everything according to their nature. So in this case, we're looking at building elements of building number 1, and we are going to be focusing on the structural walls. So in this case, I'm filtering them and sorting them according to the composition. With a right click, I am isolating the structural walls of the building. So we can see the outside structural walls, the inside walls that wrap the elevator and the staircases. And when it comes to BIM metadata information, all we need to do is just visit the appropriate BIM properties panel, which gives us access to each and every IFC attribute. In this particular case, we will need to work with a custom IDS file, and this is a new feature in the V25 version. Once we hit on the import button, we can find the appropriate IDS file. There you go. Not only XMLs, but now the IDS option is available. And with this particular file, once we hit open, we will see a new namespace called IDS, which will show us all the necessary required information. In this particular case, let's focus on the specific material properties that directly influence the core elements that are walls and columns. And so the definitions that are required are information about the fair-faced concrete, the reinforcement grade, and on the right side, we can see what kind of type this setting is. It's a string in this case. The same goes for the steel profile, the steel quantity, and we can also see the options of the annum on the right side. So there are some already predefined options for the structural steel. So we don't have to type it in ourselves. We just have to select it from the drop-down list. And once we hit OK, we will see all those options being applied on the BIM walls and BIM columns. So in this case, we will just select all the entities. And on the right side, on the properties panel, we will scroll all the way down. And in those 3 register cards on the bottom, we will find the appropriate properties. So what do we have? We have a fire rating, a thermal transmittance coefficient, if the wall is an external wall or not, its load bearing, and the bottom side includes some more technical information about the concrete, the strength class, C3037, a typical case, exposure class, and as we mentioned before, the reinforcement information, it's B500, and when it comes to the fair-faced concrete, here are the drop-down menus that are already predefined, so we don't need to type anything. So once we fill out those information, all we need to do is just save the file. It's already in a DWG file format, and export it as an IFC. So as we mentioned previously, an IFC 4 certification went live 2 weeks ago, and we're IFC certified in the 4 version. So once we hit on the IFC export on the top right side, I can export the entire building as an IFC 4 reference view. And once we hit save, we can then use this file and send it over to a BIM collaboration platform. And at this point, I will share this IFC file with my colleague Florian and give him the stage to show you the modeling model checking process in Solibri. So Florian, stage is yours.
Yes, thank you, Dimitris. One moment, I will share my screen, and I hope everybody can see my screen. Okay, we see here the verification, this checking software Solibri model checker. And we see our exported example, the building 1 example. And now we want to check if the data that we are create in our data management platform BIMQ are also matched with the data in the IFC model that we are seeing here. Okay, and we want to use the same IDS configuration, the same IDS file that we use to the transport, to the transfer to the software BricsCAD. Okay, to import an IDS file here in the Solibri model checker, it's quite easy. We go to the tab checking here, and now we can use the drag and drop function to import an IDS configuration into the software Solibri model checker. Okay, and now you see every element type, what we are defined, has its own checking rule. We have checking rule for spaces, load-bearing walls, non-load-bearing walls, floor slabs, roofs, columns, and so on. And what we also see here, it is the same structure what we have defined in BIMQ. Okay, next step is that we want to check the IFC model against this IDS checking rules. And for that, we have to only go to the tab check model. And now we see, okay, Solibri have detected some issues. We have in common 4 different issues for spaces. We have 11 issues for floor slabs, or 5 issues for roofs, and 14 issues for columns. But we want to concentrate to the load-bearing walls. Here we see non-load-bearing walls, but we want to concentrate to the load-bearing walls. And here we see our load-bearing walls, our structural walls. And for the structural walls, we have only 1 issue. Okay, let's look what this issue occurs. We see the property fire rating. Something is wrong with the property fire rating, and we want to look at the issue description. The issue description says non-matching value for the property fire rating in property set PZ wall common. The value is R90 and not what we have defined in our enumeration list F30, F60, or F90. Okay, let's look closely to a structural element. We see here a structural element for IFC wall, we see the IFC standard properties, the IFC properties, for example, PSET concrete element general with the required properties. Every property is filled. We see the PSET wall command properties with the required properties, and every property is filled. For the thermal transmittance parameter, the value here is 0.11. When we are, remember, it's in our range, what we are defined. Our range was from 0 to 0.24, and the fire rating parameter here, the value, the wrong value is R90. And when we are going back to our definitions, to our fire rating definitions, here in this enumeration list, we have said the correct value should be F30, F60, or F90. And so Solibri detected the correct issue. We have here a wrong value, and we have to edit this value to solve this problem here. We're looking to other properties, and here we see our user-defined property set called specific property materials, and all the properties what we are required is filled. So for load-bearing walls, we have only this issue, this fire rating issue with the wrong value what we are defined here, and Solibri have it detected correctly. Okay, this was our small example, and now we are open to specific questions, questions about this workflow here, or questions about the integration to the software BricsCAD.
Perfect. I believe there was already a question in the chat due to some technical difficulties. The first part of the IDS file creation.
If there are any questions.
Can you hear me, Florian?
Yes, I can hear.
Yes, there was a question from the crowd. Due to some technical difficulties, the IDS creation part was not transmitted correctly. Could you repeat the steps you took to create the IDS file?
Okay, when I want to create an IDS file for BricsCAD, in this case, I have created an IDS file for the combination project phase in the use case minimum requirements. And that means when I have a tick here, this property is required in the IDS file. So in this case, for this combination, we required for load-bearing walls, compartmentation, fire rating is external, load-bearing, reference, surface spread of flame, and thermal transmittance. We required for PSET concrete element general, construction tolerance class, exposure class, straight class, and structure class. And these properties, this is user-defined properties for the property set specific properties material. When we want to use or create an IDS configuration, we go to software templates, selected the model, select the correct project phase, in this case, project phase 5, the corresponding use case, minimum requirements in our case, and then we selected the software, BricsCAD, selected the correct IFC format, in our case, IFC4, and now we can export this configuration. And now we see we have our IDS configuration here.
Great. Thank you very much, Florian, for repeating the process.
You're welcome.
Let's take a closer look to the chat. Do we have any more questions regarding this particular workflow? How do we define the minimum requirements in the use case? I believe, Florian, that's a question for you, but I believe the requirements come straight from the Bauherr.
Okay, we have defined, so our use case 0.0 is our minimum requirements use case. So what does it mean? When I will show me some other use cases for the project phase 5, for example. So I changed my requirements. I only see the project phase 5 requirements for the minimum requirements to the use cases visualization and the use case clash detection. And when I define minimum requirements, this means this requirement also copied to the other use cases. For example, when I said this, it will be also copied to the other combinations of this project phase here. But when I tick in this combination, for example, visualization, it will be not copied because it's not a minimum requirement. I hope that was understandable.
And the secondary follow-up question, can we import the requirements from an Excel file?
Into this data management software?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes, that's possible. If anybody interested in, we have a separate webinar who describes this workflow to import data from Excel spreadsheets into this data management software. There's another webinar, a specific webinar. So please visit our YouTube channel, our BIMQ YouTube channel, and then you can see how it works.
That's great. So we have another question coming from Mr. Kochaturk. Can we define IDS file with the free version of BIMQ?
We have different license models. We have a demo account, a demo license, and we have also a free license. The difference is the demo license is over 30 days and the free license is about 1 year, but the free license is limited. Here all downloads are it's not possible to download in the free section, in the free license. So when you use our demo account, it is also possible to export IDS files or other specifications.
Understood. So in the free version, we can create the file but not download the IDS file.
Yes, that's correct.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's see if we have any additional questions in the chat. Okay, I don't see any movement in the chat. Thank you very much, everyone, for stopping by and taking part in this webinar.
Yes, thank you all also from my side.
And if there are any additional questions, feel free to drop us a message on LinkedIn. We'll be more than happy to assist you with this process. And with this, we can conclude today's sessions. Thank you very much for taking the time, and see you everyone on the next webinar. Florian, thank you very much for the presentation. And
thank you, Dimitris.
I wish you everyone a great day.
Yes, from me too. Wish you a nice weekend.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. See you. Bye.